Hey Trailblazers, this is Mrs. Wright, your Julie Johnson librarian, and I have a few new chapter books that I'd like to share with you for our upper elementary readers. This one is called All of Me. It was written by Chris Barron, and the main character is focusing on trying to lose weight. So in addition to exercising more and trying to eat less, he's also working on building his own self-confidence, and he's working on building better relationships with his family and friends. This one is called Indian No More. This was one of the Pernell Rip has a global read aloud, and this was one of the selections. It's written by Charlene Willing McManus and Tracy Sorrell, and it's historical fiction, but it's set in the 1950s. So the main character, Regina, she lives on an Indian reservation with her family. Her grandparents and her parents and her siblings live in this house, and the US government in the 1950s decides that her Indian family tribe is no longer recognized by the government. So the title, Indian No More, is like, well, what does it mean to be Indian? What does it mean to have my identity? Because the government is saying, well, you're not Indian, you are American. And she's just really struggling with that. And how does she keep the traditions that her grandparents have taught her? And as her parents are getting new jobs and as she and her siblings are going to school, what does that mean for her and who she is? This one, Santiago's Road Home by Alexandra Diaz, is about a boy who he lives with a family member who doesn't take very good care of him, and he decides that he's going to leave, and he meets up with a woman and her daughter, and they decide that they are going to try to cross the border from Mexico to the US to live a better life. But there is a lot of danger associated with that journey, from the elements, from nature, and also from people who are looking for them. And so it's not a light book. It's a very serious book, but it's a really important story. And I enjoyed reading this story, and I hope you will too. Completely opposite from that is this one, My Life as a Potato. This is written by Ariane Kostner. And this is about a student who is, he makes a mistake, and then he gets forced into being the mascot for his school sports team. So the mascot is a potato, so you can see his face is in there. He's in the potato costume. And he's not an excellent mascot. In fact, as a mascot, he also gets into trouble. But somehow he's managed to be, nobody knows that he is being the mascot. So he's got this double life going. So he's kind of cool at his middle school. And he even hears people talking about the guy wearing the potato costume. And he's like, yeah, who's that guy? But he is that guy. So of course, there's a big conflict about how can he keep the secret and how can he be a more effective mascot, or how can he get out of being a mascot if he can't get any better at it. So it's lighthearted, it's funny, worth a read, I think. This one is a beautiful book by Lisa Klein Ransom. It's called Leaving Lyman. If you've read Finding Langston, this is a companion book, but you don't have to have read that to enjoy this one. In this book, the protagonist is being raised by his grandparents. His dad is in jail, and his mom has left. She lives north in Chicago. So when a death in the family happens, he ends up going north too, and he thinks, well, I'll go live with my mom and that'll be fine. But his mom is remarried and they have kids, and that's not easy either. And all along, Lyman has music. So you can see on the cover, he's got his guitar. So he learns to play this blues music, and he's a pretty talented musician. So that's the thing that sort of carries him through his journeys of finding who he is and where he's going to live and where he's going to call home. And finally, this is a marvelous book, Black Brother, Black Brother. It's written by Jewel Parker Rhodes. She wrote Ghost Boys, which was one of our Bluebonnet selections last year. This book is about two brothers, they're twins, and Trey looks white and Dante looks black, and they go to this private school, and something happens, and Dante didn't do it, but he gets arrested, so he's taken to jail, which is terrifying, of course. And he gets out, but he's really upset, obviously, that this has happened to him. And he's dealing with a lot of things that happen to him on a daily basis that don't happen to his brother. And so he looks for a way to get out. not to leave, but just to get out of that situation and try to feel more confident and try to change the things around him that are unfair. So his brother is more of an athlete, but he wants to. But Dante decides he wants to try fencing. Well, the king of fencing at their school is also the guy who is really intent on bullying Dante. So he finds somebody at his YMCA that he can train with. So he starts to get really good at fencing. And I haven't really read a lot of books about kids learning to fence, so that was kind of a nice thing. You know, I read a lot of books about characters who play basketball or tennis or football or something, but fencing is a little bit unusual, so I kind of like seeing that. And the story is really powerful. It tackles racism. It doesn't try to solve it, but it really deals with it and shows how things are hard for Dante and what he can do about them. And I think a lot of students would really find this compelling story. I really did. So lots of books to choose from. They are all available in our library for you to check out, and I hope you will.